This is an overview of what would have been my installation one-man trance in the CADVC gallery at UMBC. So here we have the gallery entrance, a little receiving area, and then the gallery starts. My install would have been to the left as you walked in the gallery. This would have been my wall too, facing the door, so you would have seen my stuff first as you entered. Basically, it's a 20 by 20 square, and coming in you would have seen first my bathroom vanity self-hypnosis station here, and that would have been the sink with the smart mirror above it. Smart mirror would just be a 40-inch TV with a piece of one-way glass on the front of it, so it looked just like a bathroom mirror because it's mounted vertically. There would have been a motion-activated hand sanitizer dispenser and then knee triggers attached to the front of the vanity. And then the Kindle instructional video here to show viewers how to interact with it. But basically, they'd come up, get some hand sanitizer on their hands, rub it in for 30 seconds, and then tap out the knee triggers of the ABC song, like syllable by syllable. And that would change the slides in the smart mirror, which were made by the vertical whiteboard I'll talk about in a minute, as well as playback hypnotic audio as well. Then coming around the corner here, they would have seen a desk, a bed, and then the second smaller smart mirror, which is just a 20-inch TV with a piece of one-way acrylic mirror coated material here, angled at this corner where the 4 TVs would have been, which I'll talk about in a minute as well. At the end of the bed would have been a storage box and then just a brown shipping box on top of that. In order to interact with this station, there would have been nail clippers with a pinch trigger on it, so anytime you would snip the nail clippers down, either with nothing in it or on a fingernail, it would advance the slide in the smart mirror of the vertical whiteboard made earlier that day. When I did my performances in there, they would have been made more complicated, so I would add more triggers to things. But I would have put a contact mic on the open flap of the shipping box at the end of the bed so that when I was laying in the bed, I could tap my feet on that flap and that would advance the slides on this television, as well as having the nail clippers switch the slides on this smart mirror. Moving to the corner here would have been the vertical summary whiteboard, which is about 3 feet wide by 5 feet tall, starts about 2.5 feet off the floor. That's when I make my summaries or pull important material from the main whiteboard here, which is 8 feet long by 4 feet tall. This one's about 3 feet off the ground, so a little higher. And then there would have been the E-beam smart marker sensor, about 6 inches from the end of each of these whiteboards, and that's to capture the whiteboard making process, which is how I made this slideshow I'm going through now. This was made on a whiteboard capturing frame by frame. Luidia allows you to do that. Moving into the corner, there would have been a shelf there, a TV stand, and then a circle TV stand, and then the 4 main TVs. Okay, the main TV here, the biggest one, which is about a 45-inch television, that one's just playing back live sports because it can be muted. There's no narrative arc to follow, and it links up with a lot of my imaginative childhood fantasy vocation. Then we have dreams playing back on this lowest sitting television, like the subconscious level. Then we have the hypnotic text one, which plays back the active alert hypnotic induction, as well as suggestion scripts, which are determined by what I make on the boards each day and what my dreams are. And then this final one over here plays back my notes from my note making, and some of these vertical summary whiteboards I digitize as well and play back, just things I want to be reminded of. But these TVs are all controlled from this one-man band self-hypnosis station here, which is on a rug and a drum throne, and then the 4 drum pedals here. The 2 middle ones control all of these TV one word-by-word screens, which is the rapid serial visual presentation, which I talk about in the thesis. The outer 2 pedals control the projector here, which play back the whiteboards I make slide by slide, sort of like how I'm going through this slideshow now. The projector would be ceiling mounted here and play back and project directly onto the surface of the whiteboard, which would be, I create it on the same surface I review it on, and, of course I would erase it in order to play back on top of that clean surface. There'd be a second projector mounted to the ceiling over here, just projecting on the wall about that size, and it would have been for the exercise bike self-hypnosis stations where viewers would come, sit, bump their knees up against the handlebars, and that would rotate through a projection of my bulking and cutting routine I've been going through for, I guess, this whole final year of the MFA program. One more piece of furniture here, which is the electronics cart, which would house the 4 Mac Minis, which are running these screens here, as well as the Roland TD1s and the Roland TD7 drum brain and the Scarlett audio interface, and then just a audio splitter as well, all hidden under the cart there. But there would have been a bunch of wires in this area, and so this was it's designed so the viewer doesn't need to walk back here. They can walk here, get some markers right on the whiteboard, use the self-hypnosis station here, use the exercise bike, but this is all just to, there's no need for the viewer to get there, and it's sort of designed to keep them out of that area. Okay, the last piece would have been the kitchen pantry placebo station. So this was a kitchen pantry I purchased. It was about 6.5 feet tall. It would have stood with the top portion of its doors open so you could see inside of it. On top of it would have been a wicker basket kitchen organizer type thing to hide electronics so that the wires could drop down and not have to fight gravity. There would have been a drum pedal next to it, and then there would have been bone conductors connected to the tops of like muscle building supplement containers as well as immunity boosting supplements on the inside of that. So a viewer would come up and tap on the drum pedal, and you'd be able to hear back syllable by syllable what I say to my supplements in order to potentiate their power and to make them more effective in my muscle recovery and in my immunity boosting powers. I say a different sort of mantra to each one each time, so this would play back that and allow the viewer to hear by leaning in close, because it would be light, just very lightly heard, but you could hear a bunch of my voices, 6 in total, speaking to 6 of the different supplements. Okay, some more objects in the room. There would have been a desk fan on the desk here, and that's because I cut it on for white noise when I sleep, and then I also cut it on when I'm making the whiteboard, so I sort of want that subconscious sonic connection there. And then when I'm at this self-hypnosis station for the one-man band, that goes off, but then the fan sound is made by the projectors, so it sort of creates that trance-like sonic subconscious saturation that I wanted to go through, creating my own domestic environment here. There might have been a few one-man band instruments I had collected for research in the corner here, but that would have depended on how this all looked in the space and if it would have been too overwhelming or not. There would have been the markers and the e-beam smart marker charging station, the eraser, all on top of that shelf there. There would have been kazoos, because that's the traditional one-man band instrument. I was planning to bag them individually and seal them so that no germs were spread, but of course all that had to be cut. But I would have used them for my performance with a guitar, which would have been on a stand over here. And then, there would have been Kindle instructional videos at each station, so showing the viewer how to interact with the objects and the space. So on the wall here, on the electronics cart here, at the placebo station here, and then one at the exercise bike station, just to show people how they were to use those. I was planning on filming those in the gallery during install week, just to show the exact space and objects as they were in the gallery, but I didn't get a chance to do that, of course. And then last, maybe the most important thing to make all this tie together, on the wall here that you would see entering and exiting would be my National Guild of Hypnotists certifications framed, hanging on the wall, showing my competence because I am a certified hypnotist, and this all sort of legitimizes these as all self-hypnotic practices to engage in. Okay, so I'll do videos of each of these stations following this, so be sure to watch. Thanks.